guys, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, hi, my name is Jordan. I did a Q&A box over on my Instagram and you guys sent lots of questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer as many as I can today. I'm not gonna be able to get to every single question because this video would be like 4 hours long, but I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can. I'm also a really big yapper, so I'm gonna try to not yap and just keep my answers short, sweet, to the point so I can get to as many questions as possible, but I apologize in advance if I talk too much. I'm gonna start at the bottom at some of the first questions that came in and just work my way up. Are you able to make a living off your income from TikTok? Yes and no. I definitely have made money off of, brand deals and partnerships, and I've made like good money. It's definitely helped us for sure. I know there's obviously creators out there that have millions of followers, so they're getting like really big paychecks and they're getting brand deals more frequently. So I can see why a lot of really big influencers can live off of it, but at least my experience, the income is very inconsistent. Sometimes I'll have a really good month where I get multiple brand deals, but then I'll have other times where I'll go like a month or 6 weeks at a time where I don't get a single brand deal. And so the paychecks can be very inconsistent. One thing I think people don't know about social media, I'm supposed to be doing my makeup, hello. I think people don't know about social media is there's a thing called net 30 and like net 90 or net 60, whatever the brand chooses. And so if you work with a brand that has like net 90, you don't get paid for 90 days after the video is posted. So yeah, it can be very inconsistent. I did a brand deal in April and I won't see a paycheck until August for that brand deal. So at this moment in time where I'm at with social media, it's not livable quite yet. I got a lot of questions about Brandon and like the things that I like most about him. This one specifically says, what are some of Brandon's qualities or morals you like most? Which I love that question, especially because I just love talking about Brandon. Some of my favorite things about Brandon is he is genuinely just a very calm, kind, fun person to be around. He is so sweet. He's so understanding. He's not quick to get angry. He's quick to forgive. He's nice to everyone. He's someone that you can just tell is very genuine and has a really good heart. And I just love that about him. He's genuinely a great person. Okay, I got a lot of questions about Jelly. This person said, what made you want to get a ragdoll cat? So I actually shot a wedding, I want to say in like 2017, 2018, something like that. And the venue had a ragdoll cat that like lived on the property, and I hung out with this cat all day. Like the cat followed us around the whole wedding day. And after that, I remember asking the venue owner, I said like, I asked them, I was like, what kind of cat is this? And she told me that it was a ragdoll cat. And I went home and I researched ragdoll cats, and I had learned that they're really good with dogs. They're really good with kids. Like they're just great cats. Like they're a really great breed. So from that point on, I was like, I want to get a ragdoll cat. They seem so amazing. And we had already had 2 dogs, and I was a little stressed about introducing a cat into a house that has 2 dogs already, but Jelly fit right in perfectly. She plays with them. They get along really well. It's great. Next question is favorite show of all time. I actually have quite a few, but if I had to pick one, I would say Desperate Housewives. Not Real Housewives. Desperate Housewives, like the drama show. I think, this show has a little bit of a special place in my heart because I used to watch this show with my mom. So it just reminds me of my childhood and reminds me of my mom, and we would watch it every single Sunday, and the show has a special place in my heart. But it's also genuinely a really good show. Like, I love that show. I have rewatched it probably like 15 times. Like you could show me a screen grab from like any episode, any season, and I will know exactly what is happening because I've seen it that many times. Do you want to live somewhere else other than California? I was born and raised in California. Brandon and I are both originally from Northern California. We were both born in the Bay Area, and then we grew up in Sacramento. We've talked about moving out of California because the cost of living here is just so ridiculous. The cost of living here was super reasonable. No, we would never consider leaving, but because it's so expensive, we have talked about it. I don't know if we'll ever leave. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're open to it. The life that we want, sometimes it feels very unattainable to have that here, but it's also hard because all of my family is here. Brayden's mom lives in Hawaii, which is obviously really close to the West Coast. We've definitely considered Charleston in South Carolina. We visited a couple years ago and it was so cute and we loved it so much. We've also considered Florida. Reminds me of California a little bit, but I don't know if we'll ever actually move. How are you able to stay consistent with working out? So honestly, I used to be really inconsistent with working out, and I just started being consistent within the last year, I want to say. I just stopped giving myself an excuse. I stopped thinking about it so much, and I'm like, for example, I took up running. I love running, but getting up off the couch, getting dressed and going out and running, it's mentally challenging. Once I'm running, I'm fine, but getting myself out the door and starting my run is the hardest part. And I just started not really giving myself a choice. I don't give myself the time to talk myself out of it, I just do it. I try to just not think about it so much, which I know sounds way easier to say than actually do, but I don't know, I just stopped giving myself an excuse and I try not to think about it too much, because if I give myself time to think about it and think about how much I don't want to do it, I'm going to end up talking myself out of it. I just started telling myself that not working out is not a choice anymore. I need to do it for my health and it benefits me mentally so much, so I just stopped giving myself a choice. No's not an option. I just realized I completely forgot to do concealer. I always forget to do concealer. I'll just skip right over it on accident. Okay, I got a lot of questions about my photography business, like how to get started, how did I grow a successful business, beginner camera recommendations, all that stuff. Obviously, I could talk about this topic forever, but just to keep it short and sweet, the best advice I can give is, if you are serious about it, invest in a good camera. If you're serious about it. When I started my photography business, I had a little point and shoot camera that was $500. Brandon actually bought me my first camera. When I decided I was serious about it, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Not doing it isn't an option. And I maxed out my credit card, not telling you that putting yourself in debt is the best choice and the only option. You can definitely save, but I was not in a good place. I could barely pay my bills, and I was like, you know what, I have to take a chance on myself. So I maxed out my credit card. I bought a camera and a lens. I think it came out to $3,200, which at the time was so much money to me. That was so much money, more money than I ever thought that I would have. And I maxed out my credit card, bought my camera, and I just worked my butt off. I went out, I asked anyone that would let me shoot them. I was like, hey, do you want to shoot? Hey, do you want to shoot? I second shot a ton of weddings for free. You just have to be willing to, I hate how this sounds so hustle culture, but you have to be willing to just grind and work your ass off. Put yourself out there, reach out to photographers, ask if you can second shoot for them. Even if you offer to do it for free, shoot your friends, literally post on Instagram, who wants to do a shoot? People aren't gonna say no to free photos. And after a while, once you build a clientele, you get a solid portfolio going for yourself and people start reaching out to you, that's when you charge. And you don't immediately need to start charging a ton of money. I think the first session I ever charged for, I charged $75, but it's $75 that I didn't have before, and it was doing something that I loved. So that's the best piece of advice I could give. And when it comes to camera recommendations, buy the best camera that you can afford, because obviously I shoot Canon. Not everyone wants to shoot Canon, so figure out if you're Sony, Nikon, Canon, whatever, and do your research for the best one that you can afford. And if you're serious about it, buy it. Someone asked what my death row meal is. I don't know. That is so hard. I love food so much. I don't think I could just pick a meal. I don't know. That's really, really hard. For sure, answers that I know that are in there for sure. Definitely wings. I love wings. Bone-in, traditional, extra crispy wings, all flats. Oh, that's definitely in there with some ranch. Probably some sort of pasta. I love pasta. I don't know, and pizza. There's just so many good food. I don't know if I could pick. I don't know. How do you balance your screen time in your daily life with social media and photography being your career? I don't. My eyeballs are rotting out of my head. Definitely have some days where I'm on my phone way more than I should be, and it's just, I try to have balance, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that I do. Some days my screen time is 11 hours and it's very embarrassing. I'm trying to categorize a lot of the questions together. This person asked, how do you navigate disagreements and fights? One person asked how we went from besties to lovers. How do you get through stupid fights in your relationship? How do you keep such an amazing long-term relationship? So a lot of relationship questions, I'm gonna try to just kind of clump them together. I think when it comes to disagreements and fights, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Brandon and I don't fight. We do. We do. And I think some fighting in a relationship is normal. You're gonna fight, you're gonna disagree. The best way to navigate it is just, even when you're fighting, just make sure that you're treating each other with respect. Like, there's definitely been times where Brandon and I are fighting and I'm like, okay, I really don't like the way that we're talking to each other right now. We're being, not nice, disrespectful. And just try to hear the other person out. Sometimes I know that I can be more focused on like proving my point than actually like resolving the issue. Definitely think just try to really, really work on your communication, the way that you speak to each other. How to keep an amazing relationship. I mean, honestly, like I feel like I get asked that a lot, like, oh, how to keep this spark alive. I feel like the main reason that people struggle in their relationship is because their partner is genuinely not their friend. I think a lot of times in relationships, people prioritize things like sex and lust and like your attraction to each other. I think one of the most important things in a relationship is, do you actually like each other? Are you actually friends? Because that's what's gonna make your relationship go the long run and last a really long time, is if you guys genuinely really, really like each other. I love who Brandon is as a person. I get along with him so well. He is my favorite person to hang out with. And I think that that's how you should feel about your partner. I think a lot of times when people are like, oh, marriage is really hard and, they're just miserable and always hating on their partner, it's probably because they don't like their partner very much. They don't like who their partner is as a person outside of like a lover. And you have to have a good foundation of like teamwork and working together and like being a unit and not just two people in a relationship that operate separately. Obviously, you should operate separately as like individuals, but I'm saying like when it comes to your relationship and working on it, you have to be a team. What accomplishment from your life are you the most proud of? I love this question because I think being proud of yourself is so important. So I have a couple things. One, I'm very proud of my relationship. My whole life, I was around really not great relationships, and same thing with Brandon. Like, we weren't really given like a great example growing up. Like, we both come from divorce. Like, we've definitely seen our fair share of toxic relationships. So I'm genuinely very, very proud of my relationship, and I'm proud of the person that I'm married to. I genuinely believe that our kids will look at our relationship and say, I want to love like mom and dad. And I don't think a lot of parents can say that. So that's something that I'm very proud of. Also, I'm very proud of the life that Brandon and I have built for ourselves. I am not someone that comes from a lot of privilege. I'm definitely obviously privileged in some ways, but I do not come from a lot in terms of like money and, education. Like, I graduated high school and I've been on my own since I was about 16 years old. I literally, my senior year of high school, I didn't even live with my family. That's a story for another day. I've really built myself up from nothing. I started with absolutely nothing. I started with absolutely no money. Brandon and I have a beautiful life that we live together. And I know that when I go to bed at night, I know that everything that I have in my life is because I have worked my ass off for it. No one has handed me anything. And I think that that's something that I'm very, very proud of. And I'm not saying that people that have parents that are able to help them and give them a ton of money and give them a leg up, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm happy for people that have that. I definitely feel super proud of the fact that I wasn't given anything. I was not given not even a sliver of a head start, not even a little bit of a leg up. I was given nothing, and I've really made a beautiful life for myself. So that's something that I'm very, very, very proud of. So I got a lot of questions regarding social media, like how I decided I wanted to start creating content. How did I get comfortable with vlogging in public? So honestly, I have always loved sharing my life. Like, I've always, even before I grew a following, I would share my life on my Instagram stories and on Snapchat. Like, I loved sharing. I would like share YouTube videos here and there, but I was never like consistent with it. I had always loved taking pictures, and hence my background in photography. Like, I just always loved that. I always loved documenting life. And then during COVID, I made a TikTok account and I just started sharing. And my first video that ever took off was about my eating disorder, and I just kind of grew from there. And I just love it. I've always had a passion for creating content, and how you know if you truly have a passion for it is, would you do it if you never made a dime off of it? I could never make another dime right now and I would still create content because I love it so much. I think it's so fun and I love connecting with people. So I just really enjoy it. When it comes to like vlogging and doing things in public, I am never been someone that's been embarrassed super easily. Sometimes I get a little like nervous filming in public if I'm alone. But if I'm with Brandon, like I don't care about anything. Like if I have someone with me when I'm filming, I do not care. And honestly, like it's 2024. So if someone's looking at you funky while you're filming yourself, I'm like, bro, like it's 2024. Everyone films themselves. Everyone, I feel like so many people vlog, so many people are out like taking pictures. I feel like it's like so normal nowadays, so I don't even hesitate. Any advice for having dogs in a small apartment? I do not agree with people that say, oh, if you have an apartment, you shouldn't have a dog, because I think a lot of people that do have houses and have backyards, they use that as an excuse to not take their dogs out to do anything. So I think my dog gets just as much exercise as a dog that has a backyard, if not more. So my biggest piece of advice is just prioritize exercise, prioritize getting them out of the house, getting them socialized, you know, take them on walks with you, you know, take them out to dinner with you and sit on the patio. Like just get them out and about, prioritize their exercise, take them to the beach, take them on hikes. Just as long as you prioritize it, you can definitely have a dog in an apartment if you are dedicated to taking care of them. Our lives completely revolve around our pets and we're okay with that because we love them and we want them to have a good life. Why and how did you decide to not drink alcohol? So if you didn't know, Brandon and I are sober and we have been for years. It wasn't like we had a serious problem with alcohol. We just decided that it wasn't the lifestyle that we wanted to live anymore. I drank a lot when I was in high school. So we definitely had a party phase, but we both come from families that struggle with alcoholism. I have a lot of family members that are alcoholics. Came to the realization that alcohol nothing positive came from drinking alcohol. Like it would cause fights in our relationship. We'd wake up the next day hungover, we're arguing, like just like literally, we're just like, why? What is the point? It doesn't make us feel good. Like it makes us feel good in the moment sometimes if we didn't drink too much. And then we would be hungover the next day. It's not good for you. We just decided that it wasn't for us. We'd rather just steer clear, especially because our families struggle with alcoholism and we would never want it to get to that point. But I did want to say that there are multiple people in my family that drink that don't struggle with alcoholism. And we have plenty of friends that drink alcohol. Like we don't judge people that drink alcohol. It's just not that's just not what we choose to not do it. But we don't judge people that do. Do you guys want kids? Yes, I definitely thought when I was younger that we would have kids by now. As I've gotten older, I've come to the realization that I'm not in a rush, but we definitely want kids, just not right now. We really want to get our life and ourselves in order, like our finances, we want to get a house. Like there's a lot of things we want to accomplish before we have kids. That's definitely a few chapters down the line. Do you still deal with ED issues? How did you learn to accept / love your body? I don't talk much about my ED anymore. I'm going to say ED because I don't want this video to get like flagged or anything. But if you didn't know, I struggled with an ED for like 7 years and I went into recovery in 2020 and I've been recovered for a few years now. I honestly, like, I don't really struggle with an ED anymore. Like I feel like I genuinely am so confident in the relationship that I have with food now. I will say my relationship with my body kind of goes up and down, especially depending on like what phase of my cycle that I'm in. The luteal phase will be the death of me. But my relationship with my body is definitely a work in progress. I've obviously gotten so much better about it, but I do have days where I just feel really gross and I just don't feel super confident. But in terms of like my relationship with food, has never been better. Like I just have such a good relationship with food now. I trust myself completely around food. And that's not something I ever thought I was going to be able to. I didn't think I would be able to have a relationship with food like that ever. Like I kind of just accepted that my relationship with food would always be really unhealthy, but I'm just in such a good place with it, with food, and it makes me really happy. And if you are someone that struggles with an ED or with your relationship with food, just know that it does take a long time. It's taken me almost 4 years to get to this point from, you know, the time that I started recovery. And I would say just within the last year has my relationship with food become like really amazing. I obviously made a lot of progress, but just within the last year was I like, okay, wow, like I really trust myself around food. Like I don't feel guilty after eating certain foods. I don't overeat anymore. Like I'm very intuitive now when it comes to eating and listening to my hunger cues. And I just, yeah, overall, I'm in a great place with food. Body image, we're still working on that. How do you balance work and life? I own my own business and I'm stuck. That's a really good question. It's definitely hard. I have days where I'm better about it than others. Because I don't have a set schedule and like someone telling me what I have to do, to-do lists are really, really great because it makes me get the things that are important. It helps me actually get them done and not just kind of bounce around and be like, I don't really know what to do. And then I do try to set work hours and be like, okay, I am done working today at 4 o'clock, or I'm done working today at 5 o'clock. Or like if I have to work late, like sometimes I'll have client calls at like 7 o'clock at night because that's the only time it works for clients. I'll start work a little bit later and then like, so say if I have a client call at 7, I'll start work at like 2. So that way my hours are shifted a little bit and I have more time in the morning since I'm not gonna have as much time in the evening. But I try to just balance. Obviously some days I work way more than I should, and some days I'm irresponsible and I don't get anything done. What's your best advice to having different love languages as your partner? So Brandon and I have completely different love languages. His love language is definitely words of affirmation and physical touch. And I am 100% acts of service, 100%. I kind of am like words of affirmation a little bit, but 100% acts of service. I'm also someone that like gets touched out very easily. So it's definitely been hard having very polar opposite love languages, but I think it just boils down to making an effort to try to communicate in that person's way. So I try to be better about like physical touch, and I try to really like words of affirmation is easier for me than physical touch because I am someone that I get overstimulated if I'm like touched too much. So I really try to hone in on the words of affirmation because that's easier for me. I'm always telling him I love him. I'm always telling him how proud I am of him, just trying to give him as many compliments as possible. And then obviously I try to, you know, do the whole physical touch thing, but I will communicate with him when I'm like, hey, I'm touched out. Like, I love you, but can we not touch right now? Okay, I want your opinion on this one because I know you're gonna disagree. Someone asked who named the pets. Don't lie. Brandon, Dimitri, you're good. Okay, who named Jelly?
You did.
Thank you. Who named Sky? Me. Babe.
I named Sky and I named Coda.
You did not. We named Coda together.
We named Coda together by
I named Sky. Bro,
yours. Oh, Ace.
That was before we knew that Sky was a girl. But once we found out that Sky was a girl, bro, you're so annoying. We named Coda together.
Yes.
I named Sky and I named Jelly. Thank you. That's all I needed.
We named Coda together. No. She named Jelly and I named Sky.
No, you did not. Tips for being confident. I admire that so much about you. I loathe my mom body. First of all, you are beautiful and your body deserves love. Honestly, my tips for being confident is just fake it till you make it. I definitely have days where I'm coming off confident, where in my head, I'm like, I feel so gross, whatever. But I really do believe that our brains and our minds believe what we tell them. So if you're always like, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that, you're gonna believe that. I really do believe in words of affirmation. Try to talk positively to yourself. That really helps. And also, one thing that really helped me is buying clothes that I felt confident in. I, for the longest time, would try to fit into clothes that didn't fit me, or I would try to dress a certain way. And I really started figuring out what my style is and finding clothes that flatter my body, that look good on me, that I feel comfortable in, and that helped so much. Like I really let go of like how I thought I was supposed to dress or what I thought was sexy. Just figure out what you want to wear, what you like to wear, like the style that you like. Like if I try on a top or pants or anything in the dressing room and I don't immediately be like, yes, I love this, I feel so confident and it's comfortable, I'm not buying it. If it's not an immediate yes, then it's an immediate no. Okay, this is gonna be the last question. When do you plan on buying a home, or do you ever plan on buying? I love renting personally. We like renting too, because it's really nice being able to call them and be like, hey, the fridge is broken, and they'll just come fix it. But we definitely want to own our own house so that we can, you know, do whatever we want to it and have more space. And I really, really want a backyard, especially for the dogs. We don't know when we're gonna buy. It's hard to say because the market is just like unpredictable, and people are saying that the market's gonna crash and interest rates are gonna go down, and some people are like, no, it's just gonna keep getting worse. So we don't really know, but we have been saving to buy a house for probably like 7 years at this point. We've been saving for a long time, you know, working towards getting our credit scores really high. We've been working towards paying off all of our debt, and we are projected to be debt-free this year. So I'm so excited because that's gonna be a huge accomplishment. But we would like to buy, we just don't really know when. We're just trying to get ourselves in a really good position, and then hopefully when the time is right, which we're hoping is within the next year or two, we'll be able to buy. So that's gonna be all the questions. Thank you guys so much for sending all of them in. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate anyone that follows me, subscribes to my channel, you know, engages with my content. It means so much to me, and I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.